Net migration is running at 750,000 people every year. The numbers have trebled. They've trebled. Think of it. In the last 2 years, 2.5 million new people have come to our country. Think of it. 1 in 30 people in this country today has come in the last 2 years.
The British people have voted to lower immigration to the tens of thousands where it was when I first here, over and over and over again. It doesn't matter whether you, I, Polly, Aaron, or anybody else thinks immigration should go up or down or should stay where it is. There is no mandate for what has happened in this country over the last 30 years, and there is no mandate in this country for what is happening today. There is no consent. It's anti-democratic and wrong and immoral.
Immigration is too high. What we've done is already started detaining people, airfields on standby, planes are booked. The date for the first flight is out on the 24th, I think it is, of July. We haven't given more details beyond that to not compromise the operational security, but there will be a regular rhythm of flights, not just one. And the important point here is this is about establishing a deterrent.
The PM and I have made it absolutely clear. We were the founders, we were there at the start of the creation of the modern Europe post-war. This is Churchill's baby, but it is absolutely clear, and we've made it clear, that if there's a contradiction between our ability to secure the borders and the instructions of a foreign court, we will secure our borders.
There's a lesson for you with politicians. Don't listen to what they say, watch what they do, especially with Tories.
The legislation's in place. It's in the Safety of Rwanda bill. The guidance to civil servants is in place. We're completely confident that is enough. We are driving policy on behalf of the British people. And on behalf of the British people, we have made it clear that border security trumps everything else, that we have put law in place that enables me as Home Secretary to make those decisions and for the civil servants to follow my instructions.
We've been hearing about Rwanda for how long now? Nearly 2 years, and it hasn't happened. And what I object to is not that he's pursued the Rwanda plan, that's fine, but that there's never been any plan B. So all the time that he's been pursuing and failing to deliver the Rwanda plan, thousands of illegal immigrants have been turning up on our shores almost daily. No plan B, just Rwanda, 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 and it still hasn't happened. And it's all very well to have booked the planes. This is square the lawyers.
This is actually, I believe, a national security crisis. We have no idea who these people are, no idea what harm they could cause us. And when ISIS said in 2015 they would use the Mediterranean route to flood Europe with their operatives, I suggest when they say something like it, we should do something about it. And I believe today that the biggest single problem this country faces is the population explosion. Think of the numbers. Since the Conservatives came to power, net 4.3 million people have come into this country. It's getting on for double what the Labour Party did. Labour are totally unconcerned about the impact of this on the lives of ordinary people. And I put it to you that our quality of life has diminished for every single one of us as a result of this population explosion.
You're being lied to by all of the big parties, by the expert class, by the luxury belief class who consistently advocate policies that make them feel good, which bring them few costs but impose enormous costs on everybody else. That's what's happening in Britain today. We don't have immigration, we have mass immigration. We have something this country has never experienced before in its entire history without popular consent. Net migration is 700,000 a year. Over the next 12 years, this country is going to change in ways that we can scarcely imagine. We are going to see another 6.5 million people arrive in Britain. Immigration is going to represent 92% of all population growth in this country over the next decade. We're going to need about 5 cities the size of Birmingham to accommodate that kind of growth. We're going to be 70% on the way to another London.
I'm in absolutely no doubt that we are in decline culturally. We've begun to forget who we are, what our history is, what we stand for. We've put up with the minds of our children from a young age right through university, frankly, being poisoned about what this country is and what it represents. We get the fundamental principles of what we're about. We believe in the family. We believe in community. We believe in country. We know exactly what we believe in. I think the population explosion, the impact that it's had on people's lives, is the dominant issue. How can you discuss NHS waiting lists without discussing the fact that the population has risen by 6 million people since David Cameron came to power back in 2010? How can you talk about a shortage of housing when we need to build one new dwelling every 2 minutes just to cope with current levels of net migration? How can you talk about any of these things? We believe that an overall freeze on net migration numbers is what we need for a few years to help us at least try to catch up. National government, opposition, much of the media seems to want to bow down to the god of GDP. Our gross domestic product rose last year. Isn't that great? Well, if you massively increase the population, it's perhaps not surprising, with more people, that the overall size of the economy would grow. But here's the key. Coinciding with record levels of migration into Britain, we have now seen 6 consecutive quarters of GDP per head falling. We're getting poorer. The mass import of cheap, unskilled foreign labour may work for your big multinational company who want as cheap a labour as possible and couldn't give a damn about the social consequences, but it's not working. And we very much want to be a party that is on the side of working people.
But I also want to fight for a fairer country. And by that I mean to raise the level at which people start paying tax to £20,000 a year is bold, brave and innovative. And it works because those on the lowest incomes will keep more money in their pocket. Those on benefits. Now, there are lots of people on benefits who don't want to be on benefits. But if they go to work and work more than 16 hours a week, they find themselves worse off than staying on benefits. It's a trap. It's mad. Lift that threshold to 20,000 people, make work pay, and a lot of people will go back to work, and then we won't need the levels of unskilled migration coming into our country. For those who refuse to work, despite being offered jobs, well, that's just unfair, isn't it? It's unfair to the working population. It's unfair to people who get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and travel and do their jobs. If people on benefits won't take jobs, then I think the only thing to do properly is to cut their benefits. We can't have working people paying for people who won't work.
About putting young British workers first and giving them more opportunities. It's far too easy now for some of the big corporations and big businesses in this country to recruit cheap foreign labour. And what we're saying is to these businesses, it's all well and good that you're producing and manufacturing stuff around the country and telling people to buy British. What we're saying is buy British labour, especially young people. If we can do that, we can grow the economy and make this country a much fairer and better place to live in. It's the right thing to do.
So number one, you get people off benefits and going back to work. Number two, those on low incomes will actually be better off, genuinely better off. And number three, you reduce the need for masses of unskilled migration. Leave the ECHR, establish a law that says that no one comes via this route will ever be given refugee status, and then, if you have to, pick them up and take them back for their own safety. This is zero net migration. It means skilled people can still come, people can go, of course. But overall, this increase in population of 750,000 every year, I think is the biggest issue in the election. It affects everything from rents to availability of housing to access to GP appointments. And I think the great British public are making that connection. And we're talking about it. Everybody else wants to run away from it.
In poll after poll, the British people have been clear. Immigration is already too high. Too many overseas students were bringing their dependents here to the UK. So we've changed the rules to ensure that a student visa is not a route for whole families to come and live and work in the UK. And be under no illusion, we will do whatever it takes to stop the boats and deter bogus asylum seekers. Let me tell you, our country has become enmeshed in a dense net of international rules that were designed for another era. And it is Labour that turbocharged their impact by passing the misnamed Human Rights Act. All of them bleating the same incessant accusation, racist, racist, racist. They've always used that smear. They tried it against Margaret Thatcher. It didn't work. They tried it against David Cameron. It didn't work. A couple of years ago, they even tried it against Winston Churchill, our greatest ever leader, and it didn't even work then. The next election will also be fought on law and order between A Conservative government that wants the police to focus on criminal justice, and a Labour Party that thinks the police should focus on social justice.
If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to spread more awareness. Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. Your engagement helps us bring more content to light. Remember, stay informed, stay engaged.